Hey guys, it's your boy CeeLo Not Green, and today, after a bit of a hiatus, I have a little bit of a different video for you guys. What? Real information from CeeLo? Yes it is. Today I wanted to make a video that I haven't seen anyone make yet, so I wanted to fill that void that no one has yet. And as you can tell from the title, I'm making a video highlighting all of the smaller map changes to the existing Overwatch 1 maps that have been added to the Overwatch 2 betas. I'll be showing both Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2 footage, comparing what the maps look like in both games, so let's waste no more time and get comparing. Okay, first off we have LIJIANG Tower. On top of changing the time of day from nighttime in the rain to an early morning, or maybe it's evening? Oh, okay, it is morning. On top of that, they added a few things to the Gardens map of LIJIANG. So here we can take a look at both of the mega packs next to both teams spawned before the bridge. In Overwatch 1, there was no wall here, but in Overwatch 2, they added a few little walls. This is really to help with the lack of a second tank, being able to help get in the way to even get those mega packs. Almost every single map change is strictly because the second tank isn't there to guard their team, so keep that in mind as we go through everything else. Anyway, having some kind of protection from this death bridge is a very nice addition to the map. You don't have to be a sitting duck while you're trying to heal up from the pack without a Hanzo or Ferris spamming you the entire time like in Overwatch 1. Okay, moving on to OASIS. Let's head on over to City Center first. Okay, so here we can see on both sides, since the map is symmetrical after all, the Overwatch team added a fair bit of cover to help you not get spawn camped and actually try to get to the checkpoint without getting spammed down. There's a little billboard here which helps block the spawn doors to LOS, as well as this giant pillar instead of a little succulent planter. This pillar does so much, it's really crazy. This is the primary addition to this map. You can very easily bob and weave behind this pillar to help block incoming fire from the team that has taken the point and moved up to take space. You can see here how much it blocks vision from the spawn now, where before in Overwatch 1, it was an absolute no man's land. Hopping over to University, there's also more cover in front of the spawn doors here as well. Same application to the pillar on City Center. This really helps you from getting farmed as you try to walk out of spawn. Literally anything to help you not get melted as you try to regroup and walk out of spawn is much needed with only one tank, especially if you're playing someone like Junker Queen. No need to burn shout just to walk out of the spawn doors. Alright, let's hop on a train to Busan now.
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
I'm sorry. But seriously, there's some big changes to Busan. Let's start off with the smaller one first. On downtown, there's a cop car right in front of the spawn door on both sides. Second verse, same as the first, it's more cover to help the teams leaving spawn have more cover in order to not have a straight sightline into death. There are a few bigger changes on Mecha Base. First off, some Giga Chad forklift certified driver moved a couple of these buttes in the hallway leading up to the high ground. I bet you can guess what these are for. More cover to help you and your team not get free farmed in the meat grinder that is this hallway. The second one is on the top of the high ground. I'm sure we're all used to having a Reinhardt walk up with his shield to block this area, but in Overwatch 2, there's not a guarantee you'll have a tank that can protect this area as well, so they added this pillar in the dead center of the map where it mirrors. This just breaks up the terrain enough to add meaningful cover for both teams to play around. And the last change to control maps is one I saw on Nepal. This one is super small. On Village, there's this little pillar on both sides of the map. It's a really small piece of cover, but as you can see on this side, it really can help when you're trying to push in as an attacker to get to the point. Most people will be up on the high ground, and only having one tank can be rough to push through in no man's land that is this stretch of space leading up to the point. It's a really small piece of cover, but anything to break up the openness of that area is much appreciated. Okay, that was all of the control map changes, so let's move on to the escort maps that were added so far. Let's start off with Dorado. Starting off, there's a little box here that honestly isn't that helpful. There's a few high ground spots that have a direct line of sight on the spawn door, and neither of these commonly used high ground spots lose LOS on the attackers with this box. The only time it's helpful is if you're holding here, and if you're holding here, yeah, you're in silver, guys. Another one close by is the first corner of Point A. Looks like people actually live here since they decided to park their cars right in the middle of the street. I better see some tickets on those windshields. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to have some stern words with the Dorado Parking Authority. Nothing is worse than the Philly Parking Authority. Like, literally 30 seconds after your meter expires, you're gonna pay dearly. Easily the biggest change on Dorado, though, is this part near the first turn of Point B. There's a huge wall here that wasn't once there, and honestly, this might be one of the best new additions to all of the pre-existing maps. This allows the attacking team to actually try to use that doorway without getting sent into the Shadow Realm instantly. Look at this view from the high ground. If this wall wasn't here, there'd be absolutely no reason to attempt to push through this side door, so adding a wall to have cover is a great way to help anyone who wants to try and contest the stairs on the high ground. Alright, next map on the docket is WATCHPOINT Gibraltar. There's a good bit here, so let's get right into this one. First of all, there's this big wall here on the defending point A high ground. In Overwatch 1, this is where most people would have their shield tank sitting, but if we're going to be honest, if you weren't playing Winston with D.Va or Zarya on Gibraltar, this is you. This not only protects the defenders, but also the attackers as well. This is one of the better sightlines on the map, so having something that doesn't cause a free Widow pick is a great addition. Moving on to the hangar phase, there's one change here. They added another blue box on the right side high ground walkway. This can let someone trying to contest someone on top of the shuttle or the other high ground get some quick cover before they try to move on again. Gibraltar has some of the biggest vertical geometry in the game, so having something to help hide yourself from the defenders is a nice add. Another big one is a very similar wall that was on point A, but instead it's on the high ground on point C. Very similar things to say about this. Not only does it provide good hiding spots for the attackers, mainly someone like Widow or Hanzo from getting insta-killed by the defending Widow who jumps out of spawn, it also provides less angles that they can get picked on from the attacking snipers up there. This was a wide open high ground in Overwatch 1, so having more cover up there allows for both attackers and defenders to benefit from it. The last one is very much helping the defenders. On the last spawn point right at point C, there's an extra wall protecting the point from fire on the right side. Before, this was a wide open area where anyone on the high ground could just destroy you because there was nothing there to hide behind. Very helpful for how oppressive attackers can be once you're on the ropes towards the end of point C. Alright, Junkertown is up next. A few small ones here. First off, at the attacker's A spawn, there's a new broken down bus right next to the stairs. This is really helpful because it takes away an entire angle the defenders had before on high ground as they spawn. Less open area means less farming the attackers. Moving on from that, on point B, there's a stack of boxes right here that help the attackers not get shot instantly as they try to cross the high ground. The defenders' high ground on Junkertown is extremely strong, so having some cover as the attackers as you try to get to the point is much appreciated. Levels the playing field a little bit more. Don't worry, the defenders got a little love on Junkertown as well, don't worry. Bro, I heard you crying from me. A large stack of crates is here on the point B cap site. Before in Overwatch 1, this area is wide open, and if any attackers here got the high ground, this was just a free area that you couldn't hide or peek at all, unless you were in the side hallways. This just allows more cover to help add more places to hide and not get killed by anyone on the high ground. I hope you didn't buy any tickets to Route 66, because if you did, I guess I'll be reading your name in the obituary. Pretty small changes here on Route 66. First off, there's this little rock sticking up. I guess erosion went in reverse here because it's a little taller than it was in Overwatch 1. This really helps from when people try to spawn camp you in the little hallway at the top of the hill when you spawn on B as attackers. Similar to Junkertown, there's a little love for the defenders here as well. On point B, there's only really one way to get out to the point, which I still think is a major flaw of Route 66 in general as a map. Either way, another large rock is placed here, so if you feel the need to run extra long to this door coming out of spawn point B, you won't get instantly blown up as you walk out the door. It also is helpful for anyone trying to heal or peek someone on the high ground as the cart is nearly at its end of its run. Okay, now it's time for the hybrid map, starting off with Hollywood. First off, there's this white SUV right at the front of the attacker's A spawn. This is great because we all have been insta-picked by Widow walking out or Firestrike immediately walking out of the spawn door. Look at how much this one car takes away a ton of vision on the attackers coming out. A really nice add in my opinion. Next up on the pathway on B, there's a stack of props and boxes. This one isn't too crazy, but it does allow someone to try and use the defender's A spawn area a little further into the map. It has decent sight lines into the main payload path, but it's still very open to anyone going around the mega or the elevator. A much more impactful change is this giant generator on the far side door of the studio warehouse. This is really great, not only for defenders trying to walk out of the far side door, but also attackers when they spawn out of their C spawn room. Defenders can really use this mainly to help survive someone on top of the jail, as well as anyone attacking. Without it, it's just a giant open parking lot where there's really no protection at all. As attackers spawning from C, it can be pretty rough when you're getting spawn camped on C when you don't have a shield. This can help block LOS from anyone holding the main door on the C payload path. The last one on Hollywood is this box on the right side hallway near the defender's spawn. If you're defending, this can be a huge help because without it, you would get killed instantly if you try to peek out that hallway without that one box in the way. Another really helpful piece of cover. Two really good ones on Hollywood in my opinion. And finally, we have Eichenwald. This is a kind of small one, but the only change I could find on Eichenwald was the attacker's C spawn door. In Overwatch 1, it's a really small door, while in Overwatch 2, it's been upgraded to being much bigger. This really is to help the C spawners not get so bottlenecked when they're walking out of the spawn door. Defenders on Eichenwald C have basically free sightlines down the bridge leading up to the castle, and if anyone was coming out of this small door with no shield or defensive tank ability, it'd be a literal meat grinder. Having more space for the attackers to walk out allows the damage coming their way to not be so focused on one spot, kinda like how Route 66's Defender's B-spawn is. You know the doorway. Literally cannot walk out that door if the attackers have high ground of any kind. It's a very similar situation to Eichenwald. Okay, so that's it. Those were all the map changes that I could find in Overwatch 2. The only map that I couldn't find any changes on was King's Row, and let's admit it, King's Row is goated for a reason. No need to change it. Were there any changes to the maps that I missed? Were there changes on King's Row? Let me know in the comments, and let me know what you think of all of these changes. I like all of them for the most part. Some are kind of useless, but some of them are really impactful changes in my opinion. Like I said, let me know if I missed anything or which ones you guys noticed the most. Anyway, that's it from me. Please like the video if you enjoyed or learned something new. Subscribe and ring the bell icon to see more from me and to get notified when I upload next. And I will see you guys in the next one.